Let's wait for that to be live. So it's live now. We're going to go ahead and create a file system. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a file system. Okay. So we come here and type EFS, right? It's a managed file storage for EC2, right? We're going to click on that, right? So you see here, standard storage is 30 cents per gigabyte. Standard infrequent access storage is here, 2.5 cents. Let me see here. I want to make sure that you guys are not charged. So we're going to see AWS free tier, right? And let's see if what we have here for EFS, right? Very important to check that always, okay? So for EFS, you have up to 5 gigabytes. So we're fine. We're not going to store anything. We're just going to create the file system and mount it. That's it. Okay. So it's simple, scalable shared file storage service for Amazon EC2. We have up to 5 gigabytes of storage. Okay. So we're okay. Fine. So now we're going to create a file system. We click here and create a file system. So as you can see here, we can choose the VPC, right? VPC. By default is the default VPC. We don't have any other VPC, so we're going to choose that one. Okay. So we're going to give it a name, and as you can see, it's optional, but I want to give it a name. So I want to say my file system, right? Now I have the choice to choose either regional or one zone. It depends on how available you want your file system to be, right? So I wanted to have a regional because I want to use several availability zones. If you want to use only one zone, then you choose this one. And your data will be redundantly within a single AZ. We want to use multiple AZs. So we're going to choose the regional one. Okay. So that's it. We create the file system. And now the file system is being created. It's in the created state, right? It's been created. Now, if you want to see more about it, you can click on the file system, and then you will see how in the network tab, you see that the mount targets are being created. And remember, I have, oh, no. I'm in Ohio, right? No. I don't like this. I want to go back to Northern Virginia. Okay, Northern Virginia. You see, it will create one per availability zone, but right now I'm in Ohio. So I want to go back to this being deleted. Perfect. Let me check did I create anything special here? Let me see Ohio. Do I have anything in Ohio here? Okay. Let me go back to North Virginia. Well, S3 it's a global service, so that's why it's not going to show a region. So go back to Northern Virginia. And then in Northern Virginia, I'm going to create a file system here. And then I'm going to call it my file system. No, my file system. And regional, perfect. So now it's being created. Click here, and I will see that the mount targets here on the network, the mount targets is going to be here. It's creating 6 mount targets for me. That's something that I don't have to use. It would do it automatically. So it's creating a mount target. It's creating here. Soon they're going to be available, right? Now, in the meantime, let me close all these guys. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is go to my EC2 instance dashboard. So is everybody here? If you're following me, are you here in the file system?
Yes, Professor, but I have only 3.
Because you're in Ohio.
Okay.
I'm in Northern Virginia. Remember, you could have targets based on the number of availability zones that you have. I have 6, it creates a mount target per AZ, right? You have 3, it creates 3. You have 2, it creates 2, right?
Okay.
Based on the number of AZs, right? So soon, let me refresh this. Still creating, right? Now, remember that the mount target is on the network interface. So this is the network interface. You see, network interface is ENI, Elastic Network Interface. That's what ENI stands for, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create let me create four availability zones, okay? Do I have 3 snapshots? Hey, what's going on here? No. So always check your dashboard, right? Your dashboard and take a look at the things that you have here, right? I still showing 3 snapshots, 0. Okay, perfect. So I want to take a look at the security groups, right? I only have 1 security group, only 1. Let me take a look here.
You're in Ohio again.
Yeah, because that's what it says, that when you go back to, when you select a region, it just, that becomes your default region. Okay, so let me delete some guys here that I don't need. All of these guys, launch wizard, these are guys that I created by default. Okay. The default one, I cannot delete it. I'm gonna delete all these guys. So delete security group, perfect. And now right now my account is cleaner. Okay, perfect. I only have 3. Okay. So I'm gonna create a security group, right? But I'm gonna create the instances. Okay, perfect. So let me go ahead and launch the instance. I have to launch an instance per availability zone, okay? So it means that I have to do 1 by 1. Let me go back to this and check. You see, the mount targets are available, as you can see here, and they were provided a security group, which is the default one, okay? And we have to change this guy because they have to have the security group that have NFS open, okay? So we're gonna change this guy, okay? But for now, they're available. Yours should be available as well, right? So right now, what we're gonna do is create an instance, and I'm gonna choose everything by default here, right? So configure the instance. I'm gonna create only 1 per availability zone. So I'm gonna choose here 1A, right? 1A. In your case, you can only create 3 if you're in Ohio, and you use US East 2A, okay? I'm gonna enable this because I need my instance to have a public IP, okay? So I'm gonna enable that. So I'm gonna scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. And now I go ahead and add the storage. I don't have to do any of this, right? Add tags, and this one is going to be named US East 1A. Okay, that's my lab. So right now I'm going to create a security group, and I'm going to call it NFS security group. Okay, so that's going to have, that's going to open NFS. I already have 22. I need 22 because I will have to SSH into my instances. Okay, so add a rule and look for NFS. So NFS is right here. It will open port 2049, as you can see here, port 2049. And I put here 00, this one. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna say this allows access port 22, and that is SSH, right? And I'm gonna copy this and paste it here, and that's gonna be port 2049, which is NFS. Okay, you guys here with me? In a real life scenario, don't do this. This is not good. This is just for the sake of this. You should put here my IP address, right? Or a range of secure IP addresses, not the entire well. You don't want that, right? So now we're gonna review and launch, right? Review and launch. Everything is fine here. We're gonna launch the instance. Gonna ask us for a key, right? I'm gonna use the key that I have here, cohort 3 key pair that I created before, and I would need this key. Okay, I would need this key to SSH into the instance. So now, body description, strings like that. Okay. What? Okay. Invalid rule description.
I'm getting an error too when I was trying to do the security
Okay.
group.
Did I use anything like a different name? Okay.
You used diamond bracket when you were describing the security group.
Maybe I put something wrong there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So I'm going to launch an instance again.
No, go back. You can, I think, edit it.
No, it didn't create anything. It failed. The launch failed.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and enable here again. That's it. That's all I need. Tags.
Yeah, it worked when I had to remove that diamond bracket.
Yeah. So IUS East 1A. What is the diamond bracket?
When you click on this, when you create the security group, you put the description right over there. You said this this port for allows us the access to instances.
Oh yeah.
When you created the arrow.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and edit that. Okay. Okay, so I continue here what I was doing, and then this guy doesn't exist anymore. So NFS security group. The good thing about this, guys, is you don't have to do it again. It's only once, and you can reuse the same security group one over again. So this allow.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I know. Okay, I can use this guy. And I can use this guy. Okay. So now I review launch. Launch is going to ask me for the key. And then it goes ahead and creates my first instance, right? So now I can see the instances. This one is the pending state. I'm going to go ahead and launch the second one. Second one is going to be 1 East B. Okay, US East B, 1B. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing to B here, right? And then enable, right? Go ahead and do the same thing, tags, and then name here. And the US is 1B, right? And then security group, I can select an existing one. I can use this one that contains the two things that I want. Then I launch it and I choose the same key and I launch it. Okay, then I go ahead and launch another one. And the same process, guys. You can
We're still not using a key if we're on Windows.
You can connect to using the connect button, right? You can you can connect to the 4 instances or the 3 instances with that. I'm going to connect for the CLI. Right? So there's a bunch of videos, guys, that can help you how to connect using PuTTY. And I think that there's someone that posted it on Slack. Okay, so this is 1C. Okay, and then enable, good. Add storage, add tag, and then name. US is 1C, right? Security group, select the same one, NFS, perfect. And then here, perfect. And then I'm going to create a 4th one, and that's it. Only 4. I can do 6 if I want, but what's the point? This is more than enough. And 1D. Okay, so these instances are far from each other because they are in different availability zones. Okay, so add storage, tags, name, and then US is 1D. Configure security group, the same NFS, right? And then we go ahead and review and launch. Launch. There you go. So right now, I have 4 instances, one in each availability zones. They have their own public IP, right? They're using the same security group. As you can see here, they're using the same key. Okay, perfect. So now all of them are running except D, but that's fine. So I can go back to my guy here, and I can manage something here. I can click on manage, as you can see here. I can manage, and here in manage, we're going to change the security group. Okay, so again, back to the file system. We're here in the file system network. We're here in the mount targets right here. We click manage here, and then we change the security group. So we're going to remove this guy and look for the one that says NFS. Okay, and that's it. So we're going to remove this guy in 1B and look for NFS. It's right here, right? Good. And remove this guy, this 1C, and put NFS, right? And remove this guy and then put NFS. That's it. That's all I need. I don't care about 1E and 1F because I don't have targets there. Okay. I don't have EC2 instances there. So my EC2 instances are here in 1E, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So now I save this. Okay. Perfect. So I have my security groups here. Okay. So far so good. This is all for now. This is all about NFS for now, right? So let's work with the EC2 instances now, okay? So now
before you go any further, Professor, I'm not sure why it didn't launch for me.
It didn't launch what?
The instance when I used the NFS.
Does it give you an error?
They said the security group, NFS security group already exists for VPC.
Okay, choose the one that exists already.
Okay.
If you're creating one that already exists, I mean, choose
Are you trying to make?
exists.
Are you trying to create the 1B instance, Patine?
What's that?
Are you trying to create the 1B instance?
Yes.
So yeah, just go to choose existing security group.
Okay.
You already made it. They're in 1A.
Okay, sounds good.
That's what I said, Fatin. I said you only do it once. You don't have to do it again. Then you choose the same security group for all the instances.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
So now that we have that, we're going to come to the CLI. Okay, in your case, guys, if you don't have Mac, you can come here and connect, and come here and connect to all of them. right? Connect to all of them, and it will open one browser for you, right? Open one for you. So this is your first instance. It's connected. And then go ahead and do it in the second one, right? And connect, right? And it opens another one for you, right? And it connects to that one. So this is one, and this is another one. So do it that way. If you have a Mac computer, just follow me. We're gonna go ahead and do it from here, right? So, so my instances are here. 1A, B, C, and D, and I have here the public IPs. So I'm going ahead and using Control D, you can open a new terminal. So you say 1, we have 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we have four terminals opens. 4 terminals open. Okay. So what you have to do now is navigate to where your key is. Remember, we have to be able to SSH into the instance, you have to be where the key is. In my case, is in the desktop. Okay, that's where my key is. Right? You can have your key whenever you want, whatever you want, right? But mine is the desktop. I can find things easier in the desktop. Right? Okay. So now that we're here where the key is, we're gonna SSH. And what's the command to SSH? Well, this one here, right? SSH-I, the key name, which is the one that we created before. It has the permissions already. I hope you guys are using the same key. It has the permissions already. Say chmod 400, remember? And then EC2-user, that's the user and the IP address, but this is not the IP address. This is just one that I used before. So I have to come here and get the 1A IP address. So I copy this. I delete it. And then I say yes. And I logged in my instance. So first thing that I have to do is become a root user because I have to install some packages, and it's going to ask you to use sudo for that. I don't want to use sudo. I better become a root user, and that's it. So sudo-I, I'm a root user. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the second instance. I'm going to say 1B. I'm going to copy this guy, right? And I'll say SSH. I have auto suggestions, so I can use this, right? But in your case, you can do up arrow, right? And this will say yes, and it connects, become a sudo user, and then I clear the screen, right? I am a root user right now. I'm going to do this the same with 1C right here. And I say SSH, delete this previous IP address, paste the new one, say yes, become a root user, sudo-I, clear the screen, I'm perfect, I'm a root user. I'm going to do the same with D, copy this guy, and say SSH, auto suggestion. You can do the same if you're doing through the connect button, you can do the same, okay? But the problem with the connect button is that it is a web-based console, and that you will have to copy. It doesn't let you paste, so you have to type the things, right? You can do a parallel, but you cannot copy, paste anything. So say yes, sudo-I, and then clear, right? So now that I have become a root user, is everybody here?
Yes.
Professor, can we use CLI like AWS CLI, which we downloaded for Windows?
The AWS CLI?
Yes, like what we downloaded, right?
Yeah, but
AWS.
we're using our own terminal. We're SSHing into the instance. We don't need the AWS CLI for that. This is our own terminal. We're accessing a remote server. Okay, the CLI, the AWS CLI has nothing to do with this. But if you're using Windows, you cannot do this. You have to use PuTTY, right? If you Mac, SSH is already integrated with the terminal.
I think she's talking about the thing we installed in VS Code.
What?
Remember how we installed 3 different CLIs in VS Code?
Yeah, I said
That's
none
what
of
she's
that.
talking about.
Yeah, none of that has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
It's just this is just our own command line in our computer. Okay, the CLI. If you use the AWS CLI, you have to start with AWS, right? Every time you use the AWS CLI, you have to start with AWS. We didn't start with AWS. We used the SSH command, which is a Linux command, right? This is basically Linux, what we're doing here. If you use the Terraform CLI, you have to start with Terraform. If you use the Elastic Beanstalk CLI, you have to start with EB. We didn't use any of that, right? But the problem that you have is that if you have a Windows computer, you cannot do this that I've just did, right? So you still have the connect button that you can use from the console and do exactly the same as I'm doing here, okay? So now the first thing that we're gonna do is just a yum update. Yum update. So we want to update this guy, okay? And as it is a Linux computer or virtual machine, we're using CentOS, so we can use yum, okay? Okay, no package marked for update, not a problem. Okay, good. Okay, so everything is updated. Nothing needs to be updated. And now we're going to install a package that is going to let us mount the targets in our CLIs. Okay, so the packet name, I'm going to paste it on Slack. Okay, I put it on Slack is the yum install -y Amazon EFS utils. So we're going to install that here. Okay, complete. So we're going to install the package. Okay, complete. Install the package. Complete. Install the package and complete. Okay, perfect. So far so good, guys.
Yeah, but we gotta manually type it in Windows
Yes.
each time.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we have that, what we have to do is now create a folder, and we're going to call the folder EFS. All right. So we're going to create the folder EFS. All right. Okay. So ls, the folder is there. ls. Okay. Perfect. So we got one more step. And now we have to mount. Now we have to mount the file system in this folder. Okay. So we're gonna mount it here, and once it's mounted, we're gonna be able to test it. Okay. So I hope that you guys already created the EFS file folder, sorry. And we're gonna come back here to EFS, and then here, what is this? Attach, you see? Attach, we're gonna attach the file system. So we click attach, and then we can go ahead and copy this guy, okay? So it's gonna attach the file system. This is the file ID, the file system ID, and this is the folder we just created, EFS, okay? So don't copy the entire thing because sudo, it's needed if you're not a root user. So we can copy this guy, right? Okay, we can copy this guy. And then we come back here and say, well, I want to mount that. Just waiting. Good. No error. We mount that. No error. We mount it. No error. And we mount it. No error. Okay. So now that it's attached to that, what I have to do is CD to EFS. So CD into EFS. And then CD into EFS. And now in that folder, we can create whatever we want. We're going to be able to see it no matter the availability zone where you are, as long as the file system is there, right? Let me clear
One
this
second.
guy.
I'm still mounting.
Let me clear this guy. So as you can see, I am inside the file system, inside the folder, I'm sorry, the folder. And the file system was already mounted there. Now, a very simple file that I created here, if I ls here, I'm gonna be able to see here. And if I do ls here, I'm gonna be able to see here. I'm gonna do see here. You see, guys, how you create a folder or a file in one availability zone, and you will be able to see it in every single one. Okay, folder called test, right? ls, test is there. ls, test is there. Test is there. You see, 4 different availability zones apart at 50 miles from each other, and you can still access the same file system.
So did you create the index HTML first? Because I just finished mounting after I missed a step.
Yeah, I created in one availability zone inside the EFS folder, and I'm able to see it in every other availability
Oh,
zone.
let's see.
Just give me a second, guys, while I give you time for that. So guys, can you do it?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, guys, how cool it is?
Yeah, it's just annoying that can't copy and paste. So that's why I guess people use Buddy.
Yeah.
Imagine if you have like 50 zones and you're trying to
Mhm.
manually type everything in the web CLI.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have that, I guess that by then you should have Potty installed or something to make your life easier, right? Okay, guys. So so this is how you create a file system, how you can mount the file system, different mount targets, right? Remember the steps: create a file system, create the EC2 instances, create the security group. In the process of creating the EC2 instance, open port 2049, leave port 22 open because you have to SSH into the instance. After that, SSH into the instance, change the security group in the mount targets like we did, save it, install, first do an update, when you SSH, become a root user, run an update of your EC2 instance, and then install the Amazon EFS utils package, create a folder, name a EFS, right? Or whatever you want to name it, but make sure that this matches the folder name, right? Because this is when it's going to be mounted, right? And after that, move to the EFS file or whatever EFS folder or whatever folder you name it as, and create something there, and you will be able to see it in the same folder in every availability zone. Okay, so whatever action you do in one will reflect in the other 2 or 3 of 4 or 5 availability zones, other than the one that you are working with. So this is how you do it. And